Hi guys, so Reform UK were in Northern Ireland, Kells, County Antrim to be exact, where they signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the TUV. Now for people living in Great Britain or further afield, the TUV is the traditional Unionist voice, a Unionist party to the right of the DUP. So you have the UUP, a moderate Unionist party, the DUP to the right of them, and the TUV even further to the extreme, which is currently sitting in the Northern Ireland Assembly with just one member, the leader, Jim Allister. Jim used to be a member of the European Parliament for the DUP before the UK left the European Union. So recent failed by-election candidate Ben Habib was in Northern Ireland along with his boss Richard Tice to sign an agreement with the crazies there. Will it make any difference? Perhaps.
So it's a partnership which establishes the principles that we jointly believe in, which the top of which is obviously the reinstatement of Northern Ireland's position within the United Kingdom, but also a vision for a better economy, reducing taxes, making pay work, reducing immigration, putting the United Kingdom first, getting rid of all those woke policies. So even though it's only a 6-point declaration, our charter with the TUV, actually it's a very, very broad set of principles which go right across the political sphere.
What our listeners would probably like to know is, how will this actually work? What are the logistics behind candidates?
So we're going to sit down. The plan has yet to be established. There are 18 constituencies in Northern Ireland. There are also 630 constituencies in Great Britain. And we will be absolutely agnostic as to who stands where. The Reform UK candidates may stand in Northern Ireland. We may have TUV candidates stand in Great Britain.
Just think about this for a moment. The TUV can't win seats in Westminster in Northern Ireland, and Ben Habib is suggesting that they could run in Great Britain. Nobody's ever heard of them in Great Britain, or very few people have heard of them in Great Britain. People who follow politics have probably heard about them. But you have a party that is less known than Reform UK who are going to run candidates in Great Britain. And what are they trying to sell? Well, their main policy is to get rid of the Irish sea border. Something that Ben Habib voted for when he was a member of the European Parliament. Okay, and Lee Anderson voted for when he was a member of the Conservative Party, the Windsor Framework. So two senior people in the Reform UK party backed the Irish sea border, backed the Northern Ireland Protocol, backed the Windsor Framework, and now they're signing an agreement with the TUV, whose principal goal, it seems, is to get rid of the Irish sea border, which they have no power over. And they're going to field candidates in Great Britain. Does this include Scotland? Does it include Wales? Does it include London? And also the flip side, the Reform UK party are going to field candidates in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland is extremely sectarian. It's very rigid when it comes to its politics. There's no chance that somebody from Reform UK could win a seat. The Conservatives don't win any seats. The Labour Party don't win any seats in Northern Ireland. Why would somebody from Reform UK run in Northern Ireland?
One of the things that we so badly need in the United Kingdom between Northern Ireland and Great Britain is a cross-fertilisation of politics, and this will allow that to happen. So what we will do in Reform UK is what we think is best for Northern Ireland, and that in certain cases might be a TUV candidate, or it might be a Reform candidate, or a joint candidate.
Ben, just the last one for me. This is something I asked Richard as well. At this moment in time, do you think that the Union is under threat?
Under threat? The Union technically at the moment actually doesn't exist because Article 6 has been set aside.
Here we go again with Article 6 of the Act of Union of 1800, which stipulates the union of Great Britain and Ireland, not Northern Ireland. So technically, Ben Habib is correct. That union doesn't exist anymore. Not even technically, it literally doesn't exist anymore. The union of Great Britain and Ireland. There is another union, the union of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, but that's not covered under the Act of Union 1800. So how can you restore the Act of Union 1800 when there is Northern Ireland and not Ireland?
So I mean, this is what I mean about the existential threat faced by the United Kingdom. At every single level, you look at the UK, we are in trouble. And that's why we need a 180-degree handbrake turn on all the policies being delivered by our current government.
This is just insane. Now, what is the goal here? The goal, of course, is a bit like what Reform are doing in Great Britain to the Tories. This is, okay, the TUV, if we give the TUV a bit of a boost, what they can do is they can run candidates against the DUP. So this is about shifting the DUP further to the right or to the extreme. So this is what they're trying to do. A little bit like what's happening in Great Britain when it comes to the Conservatives. Reform UK, they are not expecting to win any seats. They're just fielding candidates in order to split the vote, to split the right-wing vote, and to damage the Conservatives. So after, when they lose the election, they'll wake up and say, well, we should have been further to the right. We should have put somebody like Suella Braverman in charge, or Kemi Badenoch, and not run with, I don't know, Rishi Sunak or Penny Mordaunt. And the same in Northern Ireland. The DUP have been listening, and I have been criticising the DUP for a long time over this. They've been listening too long to the likes of Jim Allister and the TUV. And it seems now, if Reform are able to send some money their way and boost their campaigning, there's a chance that they will split the vote and you'll end up seeing DUP MPs losing their seats. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. It's still early days, but it could be a scenario where people maybe like Sammy Wilson or Ian Paisley Jr. end up losing their seat, and that seat goes to maybe the Alliance Party or the SDLP or maybe even Sinn Féin. I don't know. I haven't looked at the figures, but it's likely it could go maybe to the Alliance Party. This would be really damaging to the DUP. So like what Reform are doing in Great Britain, the TUV could end up doing to the DUP in Northern Ireland, which would be wonderful to watch. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.